All right, so if you're going to get yourself a home inspection and you have no idea what takes place, you want to know that your inspector is going to crawl into, or at least look at all the places that you don't want to crawl into. As an example, a lot of houses have horrible places like this that can be, this is a very damp crawl space in a basement. We've got some mold in here. There could be some places where mice could get in. If your guy is not seeking out or trying to find these kinds of locations and getting in them, you're probably not getting a very competent home inspection. Any competent home inspector is going to walk through. They should identify and at least give you some basic idea about general structure, whether or not it's adequate. They should look around the perimeter of a basement and see if there's any moisture coming in, any signs of moisture. As long as I'm talking about moisture, a really good home inspector is going to have some tools at their disposal for finding or at least measuring that moisture. I call this my moisture kit. I've got a moisture measurement device that I can actually stick pins into the wall. I can stick pins into the wall and actually get a precise measurement. In another mode, I can actually project a radiometric signal into the wall to detect moisture. This is a similar device from Europe. It's used extensively in England to find basement water problems. Same thing. It projects a radio signal into the wall and it can measure moisture in the wall. I have a humidity meter where I can actually check relative humidity and dew point. And I've got an infrared camera. So I don't think that having all of these is absolutely necessary, but they should at minimum have a moisture detection device such as this. So again, if you're looking for water, which is probably one of the most important things that you're going to be doing during a home inspection, the guy ought to have at least some elementary tools for measuring or finding water. All right. Any decent home inspector is going to be checking out your HVAC. That's heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. This is a forced air furnace. They ought to at least open the equipment up, take a look inside. One, to get serial numbers, model numbers. There's various components in here that have to be checked to see if they're installed correctly. You want to check things like flame pattern. If they're not opening up the furnace and checking, you're probably not getting a competent home inspection. You want to check the safety equipment, meaning you've got the draft, meaning all that combustion gas is exiting the house in a safe manner. It's pretty common for these things to be installed incorrectly. Another thing that you want, almost more important than checking the equipment, you want to know if it actually heats and cools the house okay. You want to have your guy taking a look at all of the ductwork, meaning the distribution systems, or in the case of a hot water system, they want to be checking out the pipe. You want to actually, it sounds very elementary, but they should go around to every room and see if you're getting adequate airflow, see if the radiators are warming up. Again, it's very simple, but it's amazing how many home inspectors don't check these very simple things. They just come and look at the furnace. So it's not just about the equipment, it's about the actual distribution and function in the system. Electrical panels. This is the main service equipment for the house. Most people call it a fuse box. It's not a fuse box, it's a circuit breaker panel. I'm not going to take the main cover off, but State of Illinois law requires that the home inspector pull this main panel cover to look inside to check bonding, grounding, types of wire, and whether or not the breakers are properly sized for all the various circuits. So if they're not pulling this cover off and looking inside, you're not getting a home inspection. State of Illinois law requires that the home inspector report on safety concerns. That's a pretty broad subject because, well, anything can be unsafe, given various conditions. One of the things that you would want to know, one of the highest, if not the highest incidence of accidents in any house is falls on stairs. You want to check to see that the stair riser heights are all correct. You want to see that there are handrails. This basement stair does not have any handrails. So stair is very important. All right, Another one of the items that gets argued about constantly amongst home inspectors is whether or not you actually have to get on the roof to inspect it. Everybody gets to do whatever they want, but I am firmly in the camp that you want your home inspector, if they can't even actually walk on the roof, they have to get up close to it, because there are a number of installation details that you simply can't see from the ground. You can't see them with binoculars. So if your guy is uncomfortable getting up on a ladder, you probably don't want him doing your home inspection. If you can't actually walk on the roof, you want to make sure your guy is at least getting to the top of a ladder and checking out the eave edge shingles, because you just can't tell anything from the ground. I mean, it may look okay, but once you get up on the roof, there's always some issue to be dealt with. Your inspector should have a camera, and any place that they're going that you can't go, they should be taking lots of photos. And then when they get back down, they run you through a quick slideshow to show you what they looked at and what it means. So if your guy's not taking lots of photos when they're up on the roof, you're probably not getting a good home inspection. When you're looking for a home inspector, it can get really tricky trying to figure out all the various things that you might ask, what you want to, what they might look at, trying to understand the whole process. I guess in summary, you want somebody that carries a camera, takes lots of pictures. You want somebody that isn't upset if you follow them around and ask questions. There may be times when they don't want to answer your questions, but if they're upset with you following them around, how much can you actually learn? You really want to be able to follow them around. They should have a bunch of ladders. You should have them, they really need to get on the roof. And if it's not actually walking on the roof, they're getting up very close and personal to the material, because there's all kinds of things up there that you can't see from the ground. Same thing with like heating. A lot of inspectors will put huge emphasis on the furnace equipment, which is actually the least expensive component in the whole system. But they won't look at, let's say, the distribution system and make sure that adequate heat and air are getting delivered to all the rooms. Electrical service, it's kind of the same thing there. It's very simple to check the electrical service equipment. It's a little more complicated to check out the distribution and see if everything is working okay, if all the lights actually have switches and everything is functioning in the way that it's supposed to work. Similarly with plumbing. You might have some newer plumbing, but you might still end up with water flow that is inadequate at various fixtures, or fixtures that are, faulty or malfunctioning in some regard. And I can't stress enough the focus on water investigations. 7 of the 10 most common construction defects are caused by water in all its various forms. So if your guy is not competent to do a moisture inspection and have all sorts of specialized equipment to find that moisture, you probably want to go with another individual.